Lara Pizzorno, and I am here to answer some questions that were submitted by you after we ran the first series of video clips on bone health. So this is a question I received from a woman. She wrote me, "I suspect I am a person with low stomach acid because of my family history. To get the most calcium absorption, should I take a tablespoon of cider vinegar with my meal before I take my calcium supplement? Or do you have some other recommendations for me?" Well, yes, you definitely want to ensure that you have enough stomach acid when you take your calcium supplement. But unfortunately, cider vinegar, while it has other beneficial effects for you, is not an effective means of increasing your stomach acid. Let me explain why you need stomach acid and why you might not be producing enough stomach acid for your optimal health. And then I definitely have some recommendations for you for how to increase your stomach acid production if you need to. It's very important for all of us to be producing some stomach acid when we take calcium. This is the reason it's best to take your calcium supplement with meals, because you should naturally be secreting some hydrochloric acid then. It's what our bodies are pre-programmed to do in response to consuming food. In numerous studies, 30 to as many as 50% of postmenopausal women have been found to be deficient in stomach acid. It is quite common. And people with low stomach acid absorb only about 4% of an oral dose of calcium. What might cause you to have too little stomach acid? It's not just aging, okay? And there's plenty you can do about it. Two very common possibilities are infection with a bacterium called Helicobacter pylori. This is the bacterium that promotes ulcers. Or you could be taking drugs, over-the-counter or prescribed medication with acid-blocking drugs that are taken to relieve symptoms of heartburn, okay, or indigestion or gastroesophageal reflux, GERD, like the H2 blockers such as Tagamet, Zantac, Pepcid, or proton pump inhibitors such as Nexium, Prilosec, and Prevacid. Let's talk about H. pylori first, okay? At least 25% of the population in our modern Western world, including North America, is infected with H. pylori. And those of us who are of Hispanic or Black heritage are at especially high risk of H. pylori infection. As many as 40% of Hispanic and Black individuals have been found in recent studies to have H. pylori. In developing nations, H. pylori infection is even more common. It affects up to 80% of the population in these developing countries, and it's very easily transmitted. So it's quite easy to pick it up if you go traveling there. And H. pylori really doesn't like stomach acid. It avoids it. It avoids coming into contact with it in two ways. First, it burrows into the mucus lining of the stomach to get into the epithelial cells underneath the mucus lining of the stomach, where the pH is more neutral, and it damages the parietal cells, which are the stomach lining cells that secrete hydrochloric acid for us, in the process of burrowing into the epithelium. So H. pylori makes us less able to secrete stomach acid. And then H. pylori neutralizes any stomach acid that we do manage to produce by itself producing large amounts of an enzyme called urease, which breaks down the urea present in the stomach and it converts it into carbon dioxide and ammonia. Each molecule of ammonia then gets degraded into 2 molecules of bicarbonate, which very effectively neutralizes any stomach acid that's around. So H. pylori makes it very hard for us to absorb not just our calcium, but the nutrients, all the nutrients in the foods we eat, particularly vitamin B12, which is an extremely important nutrient for bone health. But that's a complicated subject, and we'll talk about it in another video. So if you're taking any acid-suppressing drugs, which are very effective at suppressing or preventing you from secreting or even producing any stomach acid, your likelihood of not having enough stomach acid around to help you absorb the calcium from your food or supplements is unfortunately quite high. Another common cause of low stomach acid, as I mentioned before, is simply just getting older. By the time both men and women reach age 60, about half of us no longer make enough stomach acid to optimally digest our food. And that includes releasing the calcium that we consume in our food and in supplements from its delivery partners or the food matrix, and then solubilizing it. Other less common causes of low stomach acid include food allergy, especially to wheat or dairy products, overindulgence in alcohol, which may have been a factor for you while watching the Super Bowl. That was pretty distressing. I'm a Seahawks fan. And the after effects of some viral illnesses. After a bad flu or whatever, your stomach acid production is going to go down a little bit, just for a while, and then it should recover. Fortunately, it's very easy to do something about this and to correct it, because it's very potentially damaging to our bones and our overall health, for that matter. You need stomach acid to break down your food and to absorb the nutrients in your food. Okay? Not only your calcium, but everything. So what you want to do is to provide your stomach with the additional stomach acid that you're not secreting, but that you need. Cider vinegar is great for you for other reasons, but it is unlikely to help you absorb your calcium. It's true that vinegar is acidic, but it's not an effective agent for increasing your production of stomach acid. What a number of recent scientific investigations have documented is that vinegar ingestion reduces the glucose response, which is the rise in blood sugar that follows consumption of carbohydrates, both in healthy adults and in individuals with diabetes. So it's quite helpful for us. And cider vinegar has also been shown to lower the glycemic index of starchy foods. So it makes them less likely to cause a spike in your blood sugar levels. There's also some evidence that vinegar increases the short-term feeling of satiety or feeling of fullness. So we eat a bit less when vinegar is part of our meal. All really great reasons to include cider vinegar as part of what you consume. But vinegar does not help you increase stomach acid production, nor is it going to help you digest your food. For that, you need stomach acid. And the best way to do that is to supplement. You can get a supplement of hydrochloric acid with betaine, B-E-T-A-I-N-E. And this will be much more effective for you. Hydrochloric acid with betaine is very inexpensive. It can be found at any health food store or online, and this is how you take it. You begin by taking just one tablet or a capsule containing 10 grains or 600 milligrams of hydrochloric acid at your next large meal. If this does not aggravate your symptoms, then at every subsequent meal of the same size as the first one, you take one more tablet or capsule. One at the next meal, 2 at the meal after that, and then 3 at the next meal, and so on. When you take several tablets or capsules, don't take them all at once. Space them out throughout your meal, just as your body would normally be producing the hydrochloric acid for you throughout your meal. You want to space out your taking supplemental hydrochloric acid. You continue to increase the dose until you reach 7 tablets or until you experience a feeling of warmth in your stomach, whichever occurs first. A warm feeling in the stomach means that you've taken too many tablets for that meal, and you need to take one less tablet for a meal that size. It's a good idea, however, to try the larger dose again at another meal just to make sure that the hydrochloric acid was what caused the warmth and not something else. After you've found the largest dose that you can take at your large meals without feeling any stomach warmth, then you want to maintain that dose at all meals of a similar size, and you'll need to take less at smaller meals. As your stomach's parietal cells heal, these are the cells in the lining of our stomachs that secrete hydrochloric acid for us, and they will begin to regain their ability to produce the amount of hydrochloric acid you need to properly digest your food. You will probably notice that warm feeling again, and you can cut down on how much hydrochloric acid you're taking with a meal. Eventually, you may find you no longer need any supplemental hydrochloric acid, but it may continue to be helpful for you, especially with a larger meal, since, as I mentioned, our ability to secrete hydrochloric acid does normally decrease a bit as we age. I hope this has been helpful information for you, and I hope you'll tune in again next time. Thanks.